us today on if I could turn back time. Yes, she is a Cher fan. Thank you. Come on up, Helen. Thank you so much. All righty. Get ready.
So, good morning, and it's wonderful to be back here again.
Good morning.
So the title is, If I Could Turn Back Time. Now, of course, that's one of Cher's very, very biggest hits. And she dresses, or maybe lack of dresses, really quite amazing in that particular video for that movie. A little bit too wild for a Sunday morning, maybe. But the words really got me thinking. The words of that song, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay. I don't know why I did the things I did. I don't know why I said the things I said. Love's like a knife that can cut deep inside. Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. I didn't really mean to hurt you. I didn't want to see you cry. So she's really expressing a sentiment that I think many of us can touch our lives, especially as we're looking at the new year, coming into this year of 2020. There's a lot of hype about perfect vision in 2020. And there's a lot of astrological hype that this is really the turning of the ages, and we're moving into a far more positive phase. But as the new year comes in, we're looking back at the old year often. The news always does the previous year in review. So it's a time where we can look back, we can reflect. And I believe that we really, when we're setting New Year's resolutions, we really want to do better. It's an opportunity to reflect on where we've been, the words we've said, the actions, and it really is an opportunity to begin again and lift our vibration. But then I can't help but wonder. If we could turn back time, if I could turn back time, if we could turn back time, would we? I'm a fan of Cher, but I'm also a fan of science fiction. And I see lots of science fiction movies, stories, Star Trek, where they're desperately careful. If they go back in time, they don't want to change anything and change the course of the future. Otherwise, they could wipe out their whole family tree just by an action. So I'm intrigued by that concept of, if we were to go back in time, what would the results of our new mindfulness or our new awareness, what would that be? Sometimes I think, I personally would like to go back before the Industrial Revolution started. So the first Industrial Revolution in the 1760 to 1840, followed by the second wave of Industrial Revolution, 1870 to 1914, where steam trains and pollution and iron bridges and so many inventions, but also so much of what we're now dealing with today in those choices in terms of care of our earth and pollution. I'm thinking particularly, about the effects of burning coal, fossil fuels. So if we could turn back time, would we make a better job of it? I don't know. Would we make a worse job of it? So these are the questions, and personally, especially in my teens, if I could go back, I really would like to unsay some of the things I said to my parents, my siblings, relationships. I'd like to undo some of the actions, but then I wouldn't be the person standing here today. So the past is part of our experience. My own personal experience, and I don't know whether I'll share this, probably about 5 years ago now, I had one of those periods of years where everything seemed to be going wrong. Because of my work as a physical therapist and lifting people all my career, my neck began to have problems, and I had to have surgery, a metal plate, titanium plate in my neck with screws. Not too keen on having titanium in me, but never mind. recovering from that, with all the meds that they put you on, I was a bit goofy, fell down steps, broke my neck. Right at the top, which is not a good place to break your neck. In the ER, they said I was a tough Brit, and I was very fortunate to be alive. What they didn't know was I had, I was in Wisconsin, so Lyme's disease is all over the place, ticks are all over the place. I got a very serious infection of Lyme disease, which they didn't treat because they thought all the symptoms were the broken neck. And so I ended up on bed rest, could not walk, my legs paralysed, living alone with my one cat, transferring to a commode bedside. I mean, it was really a tough time. And I wrote this down after that everything was enduring, moment to moment, just hanging in there, moment to moment. They were not giving me adequate pain medication because they didn't want me addicted to morphine. So I was in pain day and night and not sleeping. Lyme disease attacked my joints, my nerves, caused weakness, shaking, decreased mobility. It attacked my jaw and my gut, my eyes. I was shaking. My heart rate was irregular and really fast because the Lyme attacked the heart. The Lyme attacked the blood vessels, my eyes. The merest touch of clothing on my skin was painful. And it was so painful, I couldn't even lie on my side in bed. I couldn't have my legs touching. So in those moments of darkness, and that was certainly a long, dark night of the soul, at times I thought, should I end this, just to end the pain? But I also had a Buddhist practice of mindfulness and just watching and moment by moment. So I'd always thought, before Unity, that if I could turn back time, I'd go back to, preferably before the surgery, but certainly before the broken neck and certainly before the Lyme disease. Because that was 4 years of something that I really wouldn't want to repeat. With all of the losses of career, loss of finance, loss of mobility, so many losses. And yet now, we're nearly 5 years later, now I can say that I am truly grateful for everything those experiences brought. Would I wish to do it again? Heck no. But the resilience and the lessons that I learned, I am a new person. I am born anew because of that, and because that led me to Unity. I've been always a spiritual seeker, but having been through that experience, like many of the people in Unity before us, including Myrtle Fillmore, I came to Unity because I'd heard of the healing, I'd heard of the prayer, and then I just couldn't get enough of Unity teachings. So had I not gone through the experience, again, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So, this dude, Janus, he is a Roman god, and he's the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, and endings. And he's usually depicted with these two faces. So he's a two-faced guy, facing backwards into the past and facing forwards into the future. So his perspective is definitely a reflection on the past. And would Janus turn back time? Who knows? Then, this Christmas, there was an incredibly good TV series, mini-series, all on the Christmas Carol and Scrooge. So again, we've got a concept of time. We've got Ebenezer Scrooge being visited by, and I keep trying to say Bob Marley, but it's Jacob Marley. And the spirits of Christmas past, the present, and that's not yet to come. So again, there's this concept of time and the concept of paying the importance of looking back, especially in Scrooge's case, to see what he'd become and the things he'd done in the past. So from Christmas Carol and Cher and Janus, then we head to the Bible. In Eau Claire, and Reverend Alden Studebaker, the minister there at the time, was doing a Bible class on his book, Wisdom for a Lifetime. He says, come prepared to talk about your favourite Bible passage. And it was quite a big group of us, and we all came with different Bible passages, many of them about love, peace, the words of Jesus. But Helen, oh no, I came up with this one. Joel, I will repay you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. The hopper, the destroyer and the cutter, my great army which I sent against you. And I was excited when I saw that. I took it literally. Sometimes I like a literal interpretation of the Bible, sometimes I like metaphysical. But I was filled with joy because God is promised to repay me all those years I lost. And I see those waves of locusts, of swarming and hoppers and destroyers. They felt like my body being invaded by the Lyme disease, spirochetes, Babesia, Borrelia, Bartonella, all of those co-infections, oh yay. And I think it really caused me to reflect that anyone can have their personal plagues in their life. Financial problems that go on and on and on. Illnesses, relationship difficulties, PTSD, events, situations that can really suck the life out of you and keeps coming in waves like Joel is describing there. So I think it's something that we can all relate to. Periods of our lives, hopefully short. And one of the reasons why Cher is my hero is that while I was going through that difficult phase, the divine came to me in the form of Cher. The divine expressed through Cher, because Cher too had been on bed rest. And many people don't know that she was quite ill for a period of time, couldn't walk, couldn't move. It was a debilitating neurological condition. Some say it was Guillain-Barré, but it was attacking her nervous system, and she had to have extensive treatment and blood transfusions. And then I just see her as, wow, she was like me, on bed rest, couldn't walk. And at 73 now, if you see her on stage, oh my, oh my, oh my. She was my inspiration to go from bed rest and immobility back to being able to dance. That's still my goal, to be able to dance and sing and move like Cher. So she was an inspiration that helped me get through that difficult time. And in Truth Unity, Reverend Ed Rabel has done a lot of metaphysical interpretations of different Bible passages. And he's done a metaphysical interpretation. He's saying that Joel is saying, I'll restore the years that the locust had eaten. And those years that the locust ate were in what realm? And he says that was the past. It was all in the past. And the Lord is saying, God is saying, I'll restore them to you in the sense that I can change this for you, not by going back into the past, or unmaking, or unhappening, or anything, but the only time that we can make any change is the present moment. So he's saying, in the present moment, God can change this for us. God can transform anything that's in the past. Anything like plagues of locusts, all can be transformed in the now moment. And he goes on to say that we've really got a choice. We can either, any of those things that are in the past, when we allow the energy of God the good, the spirit of life, the spirit of love to infuse us, to be us, then everything can be transformed. Or we've got a choice that we can let those years and the locusts and everything that's been eaten and taken away our vitality, it can feel like a complete waste of time, a complete washout, wipeout, suffering, and the past can continue to torment us. And it's a choice. He's saying we're looking at the present moment, we've got a choice right now and right here. choice, I think the positive choice is to give yourself to God, to truth, in the here and now, and that change is effected then. Everything ripples back and is changed in the past. So now we've got a very, back to my energy field. So I see this, that when we allow God the good, the spirit of life, the spirit of love in, that can so fill our energy field that there is nothing left in terms of resentments and regrets and concerns for the past or concerns for situations that we kind of wish we didn't have to go through, but we did. And I have a really scientific term, I borrowed it from Joshua Ignacio, squiggles in our energy field. So these things from the fat past can really be like squiggles or tightening in our energy field. And sometimes we can forget that they're even there until we get triggered. You know, if I find myself triggered in any moment and I'm aware, I can usually find there's something back in the past that isn't completely resolved or dealt with. So Joshua Ignacio, I'm giving him the credit for the term squiggles. He does work at Unity Village. He's an independent contractor, but he was a vendor at the Unity Convention in Overland Park in Unity Village last June. And I really liked his explanation of these squiggles in the energy field. He works as a sound healer, and he works with the singing bowls and has a huge, big medicinal gong. And his analogy was that sound can literally shake through our energy field and can loosen up some of the squiggles. And some of the squiggles in our energy field, we may not even need to know what they are. They can just be released and go back to the universe. Carolyn Mace says that when you're getting rid of garbage, you don't go out and say, oh, hold on a minute, maybe I got that wrong, let me go and sort through the garbage again. And she said, well, hopefully we don't do that. Hopefully we just let it go. So in these squiggles in the energy field, that's what I call the locus, those things that could tend to eat up our energy. And again, many of us have had experience of either pain or dis-ease. Certainly, you know, anyone that's surviving cancer or working with cancer, Lyme disease, heart disease, degenerative disease, all these things on the physical level. There can be pain on emotional and mental levels in relationships, betrayals, divorce, loss of work, loss of career, loss of dreams, betrayals. And all of these I consider squiggles. And pain on a spiritual level, our fears, our anxieties, our false perception of separation from God. You know, all of those can lead to spiritual pain. Our error thinking thoughts that are not truth, those can lead to spiritual dissonance. There's a phrase in the Bible, and the phrase keeps coming up, you may have heard it. It came to pass. And I was really inspired by Marlene Qualley. She's a spiritual leader in Minneapolis. And I heard her speak, and she was saying that when we go through the valley of the shadow of death, don't pitch your tent. So it's really, it came to pass. If there's something difficult, a difficult passage, don't hang out there. Keep breathing, keep one step in front of the other, and keep moving through it. So as I say, don't pitch your tent in difficult places. We can do many, many other things to help these squiggles in the energy field dissipate or be healed, be forgiven. So certainly filling your whole energy field, feeling your whole being with light, with love and light. When there's love and light and God, there's not space for squiggles and negativity and old energy hanging out there. So I mentioned the singing bowls and gongs and the healing modalities. There's lots of healing modalities that we can engaged to help us get through pain on any of these levels. It's our meditation, prayer, inspirational readings, retreats, affirmations, unity denials, not head in the sand, it doesn't exist, but unity saying, this has no power over me. The silence, soul dance, singing, music, that does it for me. That can lift my vibration just by hearing good music or singing, even though I don't sing too well, but singing full blast. Chanting, healing modalities, forgiveness, compassion. So there's much of our spiritual practice that when we practice it can help overcome anything in the past. There is a self-care module I came across when doing some unity classes, and it was SPECIES, and it was really, this species bottle was saying, look to my social well-being. Am I connected socially, or am I withdrawn? Look to my physical level. Is there areas that I could improve in my eating, my exercise? Look to the physical. Look to my emotional. Keep monitoring where I'm at. Career, occupation, volunteering, sacred service. Intellectual levels. Are we stimulating ourselves sufficiently intellectually? The environment and spiritual wellness. So it's really sort of looking across all of our levels. How well are we doing? How well are we balanced? Resiliency is a really good quality. How quickly can we bounce back? So if we meet the squiggles, can we bounce back? Can we overcome? And from experience, learning to adapt quickly and self-confidence, self-esteem, self-love, expressing feelings honestly, developing our empathy with others, our intuitive abilities, all of our abilities for transmuting dark situations into light. Everything, I feel, from looking at some of these resilience testing, it kind of gets better every decade. I am more resilient every decade. I have got more skills, we have more skills, the more life experience we have, we really get better at bouncing back. And I say back to Joel, filling our energy field with God energy. I think, my other reflection on time was that time might be seen as a spiral. I've seen Barbara Marx Hubbard used to describe time and evolution as an upward spiral. And I like to believe that in our consciousness, our being, we are moving upwards. Some faith traditions do believe that souls can actually devolve. I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with the unity affirmation of we are conscious spiritual beings in evolution, ever increasing our vibration and awareness. And so it is. I would also say, looking to nature, I love monarch butterflies. So the whole concept of transformation, metamorphosis, once we've learned our existence as a caterpillar, eating everything in sight and creepy crawling across the earth, why would we ever, become the butterfly? How would we ever want to go back? Once you can fly spiritually, that flight, that freedom, that truth, we can't go back. So, this is I found this and I really like the reflection because of his talk about time, that as we evolve in consciousness, we may evolve out of the constraints of time completely. And he talks about the second coming of Christ is not a person, it's not a man or a woman, it's our state of consciousness. And I love this, where this human consciousness, we're shifting from time into presence. And we're shifting from thinking into pure consciousness. In pure consciousness, we connect in every moment with the whole universe, with the whole God, with all the oneness that we know that we are on that higher level. So with that as our affirmation and reflection, I'd like to lead us into meditation. So I'd like to just squiggle in your seat if you need to, and get comfortable. And just begin to take a few nice, slow, deep breaths in your own time and your own rhythm. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And at first, I invite you to be aware of the room, the sounds, any impression of colour or light. The sensation that you have sitting on your chair. The sensation of air moving in and out of your nostrils into your lungs. Just being aware of the coolness of the air or warmth of the air. Is it dry or is there moisture? Being aware of the energy in the room. And the energy in your energy field. The energy in your body. And just beginning to allow all thoughts to just quietly quieten down or slip away. Becoming aware of your own presence. And gently allowing any of the external stimuli to begin to become more distant. As you become quieter, gentler, going within. And as you go within, you might imagine closing the doors on the outer world and the outer reality. Moving inward to your inner personal sanctuary. And concepts of time and space may slip away. Even awareness of your own personal being may gently slip away for the moment. And in your personal sanctuary, my voice, other sounds begin to slip away, and you begin to experience the presence, your presence, the presence of the divine, God, the spirit of love and life, and you. Communion. And presence. As we enter into a period of silence. And then very, very gently become open to your awareness of your physical surroundings, the sounds. Become aware of your physical body here in this time, this place, this space. And become aware of your breathing again. Maybe taking 2 or 3 deeper breaths as you come back more and more into the awareness of presence of yourself here and now. And gently, when it feels right, I invite you to open your eyes. Become aware of the light, the space, this room. Okay, thank you. We'll continue our experience of a meditative state with special music.